My husband and I became foster parents in 2011 after hearing from our local imam about the growing number of Muslim children entering the foster care system without enough Muslim families licensed to care for them. A year later, we welcomed our first foster placement, a 5-year-old Muslim boy who showed up at our home later that evening with just the clothes on his back, a small backpack with a change of clothes, some toys, and a small blanket gifted to him by the agency. Although I was raising 3 boys of my own, I wasn't really prepared for the challenges that parenting a foster child would bring. I mean, imagine what it's like to be taken from the only home and family you've ever known, placed in a home full of strangers, not knowing whether or not you're going to be going back to your family. So my foster son cried almost every night that first week, and it was really heart-wrenching to see as a family. I remember one of my sons coming to me and saying, "Mom, is that something that could happen to me? Could somebody take us away from you?" It really put things in perspective for me about what my foster son was going through. Each fostering experience I've had has been different, each child unique, with their own story, but each one with great potential, and all of them just seeking love and acceptance. During the challenging times, I realized that I couldn't really reach out to my usual network of family and friends. And a mutual friend in 2015 introduced me to Rania, who was getting ready to accept her own foster child. I remember having an instant connection with her, and pretty soon we became each other's lifeline. We'd call each other for advice, help with resources, and sometimes just for a sympathetic ear. Through our fostering experience, we met with other Muslim foster families and foster children, and we realized that they too faced challenges that were not being met by the agencies that they were with. We learned from Muslim children in the foster care system that they were having their own challenges, especially when they were with families of other faiths, with families that weren't familiar with our traditions, our holidays, our Islamic concept of modesty, and Islamic dietary guidelines. We heard from Muslim children who felt uncomfortable praying and fasting in families of other faiths. A few of them even admitted to being fed pork because their foster family was unaware of the Islamic dietary guidelines. It was these stories and the growing gap in the number of Muslim children entering the foster care and number of families becoming licensed that motivated Rania and I to establish the Muslim Foster Care Association in 2016. We began working with local and state agencies, educating them about the unique challenges that Muslim children faced in the foster care system, especially when adhering to their faith. We became resources for any family that was caring for a Muslim child, especially those of other faiths. I recall a conversation I had with my foster son's Islamic teacher when she was giving a talk on the early seerah of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, specifically about him being orphaned early in childhood and being fostered by several different family members. She recalls my foster son listening very attentively to her talk, and at one point looking up and locking eyes with her and saying, "Just like me?" She said it brought tears to her eyes at the connection this young child made with our beloved Prophet, and reminded her of the sunnah for caring for children like him. We know that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is reported to have said that the one who cares for an orphan and myself will be like this in paradise. What greater endorsement than we need than this to revive the sunnah of fostering?